Thank you. To begin with, let's talk about the technology glitch that's plaguing, you think it's bothering you. I have had over 100 emails. I've got 230 students, and they're all uploading this way, and they're all having the same problem you're having. I have had people come to my office, I can't get this to work, and we go, and the place where they get uploaded to, I went there and I go, not only do I have your assignment, I have 8 copies of your assignment. Well, yeah, I kept trying because it didn't. Anyway, so some of you are looking at me like, I've got a dozen. No. I don't know what's going wrong with iLearn right now. There's a problem. It says uploading, 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 and it never stops saying that. And some of you waited over an hour, and it never stopped. But it is uploading. But it should be saying success. Did anybody get a success message where it said success? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. So anyway, so where the 2 check boxes down below, after you've uploaded, go down there. It says, this indicates that I have uploaded my thing and have my file and have received a success message. Check it. Okay? Until we get this glitch fixed, it is going up. It's just not telling you it is, and I don't know why. It's bugging the heck out of me. I can't fix it on my own. I've gone to the FTC, that's the Faculty Technology Center, and they're working on it, but they don't know right either. And so, anyhow, and I don't know why it's happening just this semester. And then check the box that says I understand that the file that I upload is the one I will use to correct the key, use the key with. And then as soon as you do that, hit the submit button, and that will then give you access to the key. How many of you did that and went ahead and have you found the key and have, okay? And the rest of you are saying, I can't click this, it hasn't said success. So that's okay, you're fine. Just let's get in and get the key taken care of. Yeah.
Like I submitted it and everything, and I checked the 2 boxes, but I still never got the key. So I don't know if that's something with my computer.
That's a different problem.
Yeah.
Let's look at it before I leave here. Okay. Just keep your computer up and going.
Okay.
At the end, and we'll. Okay. Question.
I've noticed that you're about 2 hours off from when things are due. Like it says 12:15 is when it's due. But it's actually 10:15, so I'm wondering about the quiz.
I'm wondering if they've got you in the wrong section. Give me your name.
Aletta Morris.
Aletta Morris. Once in a while it puts people in the wrong section, and I'm glad, okay, so you're in section 2, but I've got to make sure that iLearn knows you are, because...
This is the homework. Other than it says comma 4.
But what?
It says
if it's got you coming up at 12:15, it's got you in the other section, I think. So I'll take care of that. Anybody else have a problem with that? That's happened rarely, but it has happened before.
I can't see it either.
And you have uploaded, and you click to check the 2 boxes and hit submit. So you can't see the key at all, or you can't get it to go. Yeah, you have to press the start button in order to get into the, and then there's a rubric. Now, is everybody listening real careful? This is probably the most important thing we can say. The key has 2 purposes. Number 1, it gives you a grade for that assignment. Okay? Number 2, this is the most important one, it gives you immediate feedback. As soon as you upload your assignment, that key becomes available to you, and you can go right in there, and if you've been banging your head against the wall on one of the questions or something you've been trying to solve, you can get immediately there. What you should be doing every day is not only using the key to give yourself some points, but also to take care of any misconceptions you might have had as you were doing the assignment. You understand what I'm saying? If you made a mistake, make those adjustments in your thinking and your learning. That's the most important. when I first started teaching here, I had every student turn in every assignment written. I would haul the stack of papers back each day from the class I would teach. Me and my TA would sit down and pour through them. This semester I have 230 students. You can imagine what it would take to do that many students, 3 times a week. On the very best days, we would have them corrected and back by, let's see, Friday. Okay, what you turned in today, we'd have them back Friday. But guess what? We don't have time to write feedback on it. It was just, got it right, got it wrong. Are you following what I'm saying? And sometimes it would be 2 classes and more, and so the feedback would be delayed, and then there was no feedback other than right or wrong, and I said, I gotta do something different. And the something different is what I've got in place. And so I think I don't really need an excuse to ask you to correct an assignment. You're going to be doing that a whole bunch when you get out into your own classroom. And you better get very good at it. I don't think it's asking you too much to learn how to use a rubric to put a score on something, because you will be creating rubrics. You will be using rubrics, and as teachers you need to have that skill as well. And I think the fact that you can get feedback, if it's 1:30 in the morning and you got to know how you came out on your assignment, you upload it. Get it all done, upload it, the key's there, and I don't have to come in and release it later, it's just there. Does that make sense? Now, that also implies that you're honest, right? Well, since you've uploaded that to me, I can spot check anytime I want. I can download your homework assignment, and I can go in and see how you graded yourself against your assignment. And if there's, much discrepancy, I can have a visit with you and submit your name to the honors office and those kinds of things, which BYU Idaho we don't worry too much about. We shouldn't have to. That make sense? So does everybody see why the system is the way it is? And I apologize until we get it fixed. Just assume when it says uploading, give it about 15, 20 seconds before you close that little uploading box, and then go ahead and mark the 2 boxes and get your key and go forward. Okay? All right. I would like to hear from somebody who found something about the consecutive sums that we didn't share in class on Friday. It could have come as you were working on it a little bit more between Monday and now, or it could have come during class while you were working on it last Monday, and we didn't have time to share. You want to jump up and give us what you found?
Going off of what we learned about the consecutive 3, that it's going to be divisible by 3, I think someone shared that. I wanted to go on with, see if it worked with 5. And I found, I did a bunch, probably about 6 or 7 random consecutive 5 numbers, and they were all divisible by 5. So I thought, well, what if I did it with 4? What if that?
So your conjecture was?
That when adding 5 consecutive numbers, the answer will always be divisible by 5. And I found that to be true as many times as I did it. So I thought, well, what if it worked with 4? Because we did 3, and 5 seemed to work, so I did 4. And I found that some worked, some didn't. So that conjecture wasn't true for each of them, that when you add 4 consecutive numbers that the answer will be divisible by 4. That wasn't true. That was my original conjecture. But I found out that that wasn't true for every case, like the 3 and the 5 were. And that's what I found when I was doing mine.
Okay, it's Victoria.
Yes.
Are you willing to bet $100 on your first conjecture?
If I had $100 to give you, I would definitely do it. But yeah, I did as many times as I could possibly think, and I found no way that wouldn't work for 5 and for 3, but
So if you do as many ways as you can possibly think of, can you check all possibilities?
Just like plugging in the variable.
Oh, if you generalize it. So there's no way to check every single set of 5 consecutive numbers, is there?
No.
Because they never end, right? Yeah, question?
Oh, I was just gonna say I have another example.
Right, all right, just, so, did everybody see how we generalize the multiple of 3 one? Could you do that with this? And could you do the same thing with the 4 one to give you the ammunition to say, that's why it's not? You know what I'm saying? Okay, we won't take time to do that, but give it a shot. Anybody have any questions for Victoria? Would you like to
Yes.
go? And your name?
My name's Kelly Redding.
Kelly? Okay. Until I get to know you better, I'm asking names because I'm keeping a log, and you should be keeping your parallel log. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just checking out my examples for the threes. The one we found where if you add 3 consecutive numbers together, and I also was just looking at it more, and I realized that since they're all multiples of 3 and divided by 3, that's not right. Okay, awkward. Okay, 9. If you divide, when you divide this by the 3, it's divisible by 3, your answer will always be the middle number. I don't know how important that is to know, but I thought it was a cool little pattern that you know that when you divide the answer by 3, it'll be this middle number. So, any questions?
Anybody playing with 3s? Is she telling the truth? Have you got some information that would verify what she's saying?
I figured that out too, but I did it backwards, like where the second number was divisible by, where the sum was divisible. It's
So, like,
logical.
if you
If you
did-
add any 3 consecutive numbers together, the sum is 3 times the second number. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like 2 times 3 is the sum.
Yeah, or if you divide the total by the middle number, you'll get 3.
Correct.
So,
Are you ready to bet $100 on that?
yes, yeah, I am. Do I have $100? It's a different question.
Well, haven't you guys been to Vegas? You don't need money to gamble.
We're not gambling,
We're betting. Yeah, no, we don't want to gamble. But betting would be okay. All right. Anybody else? Did either of you get up yesterday? Would you go share yours, please, and your name?
Lindsay Stevens.
Okay.
Okay, so again, I don't know how important this is to know, but
Very important.
That's an interesting interject. I don't know how important this is. How important is any of this stuff to know?
let me write this out first.
How important are the skills that we're using to do this? Way important. I don't know that any of these conjectures that we come upon are life, life or death.
Okay, so if you're adding them up and then you just keep going from the number after, so like 14, 15, 16, whatever, the first number is always going to increase, while the second number is always going to decrease.
Oh, that's nice.
Like 9, 8, 7, 6, B, 5, 4, 3, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so forth.
So if we were to do, let's just project this for the next one.
Okay.
Let's let the class do it, see if they've caught on. What would we write next?
24, 25.
24 plus 25 plus 26. And don't add it, just get the pattern. What would it be? 75?
I hope it's right, because if not,
Okay, somebody do the math and figure it out.
Well, that fits the pattern. Did somebody check the addition?
Well, it's going to, because 25.
Let's just do it. It's the middle number times 3.
Yeah.
Use the last one.
No, it's 78.
Do it?
off my, wait, no, did that wrong, sorry.
The middle number times 3, that's it, right? You just use the conjecture that Kelly gave us.
Well, she started 12.
No, I think she just.
Okay. Anybody else? We got time for, did anybody explore the numbers that you could make
Yeah.
by, you did that one?
I don't really know. I just started randomly exploring it last.
That's what you were supposed to do, yeah. But I'd like to have somebody address what numbers can be made with consecutive sums. And you want to address that one?
I'm not sure if I've got exactly what you want, but because.
And your name?
Devin. But because obviously you have to have a sequence, you can't make the number 1 because that's only one number. And you can't make the number 2 because it's one sequence. You also can't make the number 4 or.
How many of you were working on this particular one? Ooh, several of you.
Can I bring my notes?
Absolutely.
Started working
You
on
can
it.
always take your notes to the board with you if you'd like, to kind of, especially get the detailed.
I didn't get very far, but I did.
Could you make 8?
No.
Could you make 16?
Can't make.
So we couldn't get 0, right? Couldn't get 1, couldn't get 2, couldn't get 4, but you got 3. 1 plus 2, right?
I mean, that's only until 30.
27.
27.
You can get
You
9.
can get 9.
3 plus 4. I don't think you
2 plus 3 plus 4.
Do
Or 5 plus 4.
You can't just.
Oh,
You can do 9. You can do 5.
so those are the ones I got.
You can do 13 and 14 and get 27. You can't do 16. True. Okay, so what if you just times the number by itself? So like
Who wants to ask or add to what she's got? What are?
You can't make a consecutive, like, you can't add up consecutive integers to make a power of 2.
So you're saying the next one would be which?
16.
16. Did anybody make 16? Can anyone make 16?
Oh my gosh, that is right. I thought here for the first point forward.
What would be after that?
32.
32. Did anybody get 32 by adding up consecutive numbers? Just because we haven't been able to find it, does that mean that you can't? Do you follow what I'm saying? Just because I couldn't find one doesn't mean you can't do it, unless what?
Plug it into the variable.
Unless I try all possibilities, exhaust all possibilities and say it can't happen, and then I could say that, right? Then I could bet my $100. Does that make sense? Okay, there's all kinds of fun things you could do here with this particular task. I hope you don't quit thinking about it, quit working on it, because we might ask, somebody said you can do 9, and somebody said it's 4 plus 5, and somebody else says it's 2 plus 3 plus 4. So is there a pattern in the ones that you can get more than one way? I mean, there's all kinds of questions you could pose with this problem. If you could work on this problem, we could work on it all semester and maybe not milk everything out of it that we needed to, but this is good enough for today, I guess. I'd like you to turn to a partner and talk to them about your responses to the NCTQ. Anybody remember what that stands for? NCTQ, National Council of Teacher Quality. The report was done because people were concerned in this country about the quality of the teachers we're sending into the schools. That's why it was done. Talk to your partner about the questions that we had you answer. See if they had the same kind of ideas that you did. Came up with the same thing. These were all important questions. And I wish we had time to talk about all of them, but I'd like to talk particularly about 3 and 4. So Well, maybe just before we even get there, the result of reading this report, what thoughts did you have? Aside from those questions, what thoughts did you have? What came to you? What?
I kind of realized like there's a lot of mathematical, things that I know how to do, but I don't have any clue why I do them. I just remember from when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, cross multiplying, whatever. It's just, why do I do that? I don't really know, That's
Okay.
what it is.
Yes?
I realize how important it is, well, because it's basically for elementary math, but it's for all of us as well. How math is one of those things that you have to learn everything because it's step by step going up and up. And if you don't learn the basic, you will never know. When you go to high school, it would be hard for you to know
Okay.
geometry.
It builds on itself.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Mine was kind of the opposite of hers. Like, I didn't know half the problems. Like, I was like, I know I learned how to do this at one point, but I can't remember how to do it. But I think that it kind of shows that as a teacher, you need to teach it in a way that kids are going to remember. My teachers didn't do that. I really struggled in elementary math because my teachers were really kind of past about it. They just didn't really care about the math too much. And so I think it's really important for, as a teacher, to hammer it in so that kids can remember it for a long time. Because it's going to
Hammer it in.
Just
No,
like that.
I like how you said yours ties into her comment. How do those two comments, remembering and what's behind it rather than just some steps? Are they related? Yeah? No?
I know for me, if I know the reason why, I remember. It makes sense. I don't sit there as a student, bored out of my mind, which is most common, and hate the class, and hate, no offense to anybody here, hate the other students for asking the same question over and over, just slightly different because the teacher didn't explain why.
Okay.
And if you know why, you can also apply it to your life every day and use it. Or you can come up with a song or something to make it fun to help the students remember.
Okay. Yeah.
So kind of tying into all of that for me, I've always, no offense, disliked math. And I think that's kind of common because
I'm going to find this out anyway. You're all going to write me an autobiography. If anybody looked ahead, you're going to tell me about your math experiences, good and bad, because that way I can help you. If you're one who is averse to it, or always, then I know what I'm dealing with, and I know what I've got to do, and I can do some other things with some of you. That anyway.
But I've always excelled in reading because as you read, you can, well, at least for me, I comprehend better. I think, okay, well, this means this means this, and I can relate to this. And I think that's the biggest thing is relating. And that's why I've never really enjoyed math, is because I don't feel like I can relate to it. And previously, I'm sure most of you have taken Math 108. For me, at least, that was an enjoyable experience because I felt like I could use it. And then, going into that, I can hold on to that longer because I feel like I can relate to it. And that's why I feel like I've never been able to hold on to my math concepts, is because I don't relate to it, I don't hold on to it, I just don't understand it.
What's behind it? What's the reasoning?
So I think understanding why it's important can help you hold on to it for longer.
Okay.
as well.
Let's go to question 3. What was it? Why would it be important for a teacher to know beyond procedures?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, is that when we understand the reasons why we're doing things, then we're able to put it back into our daily lives and be able to teach it better to the kids, so that it's not just, oh, you do this and then you do this, but it's more of a, you're doing this because of this, because of
Okay. Yes.
I think also, if you know, the material so well, it'll be easier for you to help, students, some people, have questions that are, trickier than others, and if you know everything about the material, it'll be easier.
Everything about it.
Well,
That's
a lot
right.
about it.
Yeah. The more we know about it, the better off we are.
Kind of going along with hers, students learn at different paces. And so if one student's excelling really well, or is really understanding what you're trying to teach them, then they're going to want to know more about it.
But if you have like students who are learning slower and are getting more help, then you're going to be able to help them as well. And you're also going to be able to help the students who are really getting in or who are advancing forwards.
I think every student learns differently, and the more that you're engaged into the knowledge of what you're teaching, then you're able to teach it different ways to each student. And I think that's very beneficial in a classroom with small kids.
Do you think we'll have diverse classrooms?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot more diverse than this. A lot more. Did you have it?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, one thing that I think is important about like understanding the why behind math concepts as opposed to just knowing how to do them procedurally is that it connects a lot of them together. I think that sometimes if you just know how to do it, then it's like memorization and the tactics are like singular to that one procedure. Whereas if you understand the deeper, then you can like, it just helps you with a lot of math procedures because you can see how they
Makes the
relate
connection.
and like how you can use these, like it's the same thing in different scenarios kind of.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, so you don't need to learn 10 different things. You learn one thing and
Yeah,
apply
like
it in
it's
10 different
conceptual.
situations.
Yeah.
Okay? All right?
I also think that like if you have a deeper level like understanding of it, you sort of know where you're gonna where the kids are gonna go with this subject, and so you can help them better build a foundation that will specifically help them in those concepts that they're gonna learn later in their life.
Okay. Let's switch to number 4. That was the one of think of a procedure that you, one has already been named here, cross multiplication. So, everybody know what we're talking about? What do you think? Have some number 5, 7 is equal to x over 12. You what? What do you do? 7 times x equals 5 times 12, and then you can divide both sides by 7. And you know what I'm talking about? So what's wrong with that?
Most of us can't explain why we do that. We just know
So
we
is
do
there
that
anything
because we're
wrong
taught.
with that if you can do it?
Growing up, I was frustrated with teachers that would just say, "Oh, that's the way it's done." To this day, I'd love to know why we do that. I don't know why.
Okay. And maybe if we knew why, we could use that in another situation instead of memorizing this for this particular situation.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but every time I did homework, the teacher would teach a concept and be like, all right, I got this. And then as soon as the problem was tweaked just a little bit, I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Because there was a new trick that you needed to learn for that one.
Right, and
Yeah.
so when the teacher said, you know, hey, this is just how it's done, I'm like, well, can you show us how to do it that way? If I don't understand, if I kind of get the first way, but I don't know how to, I can't talk today. If I can't figure out how to put that concept into the new problem with a little bit of a tweak, how long am I going to do the problem? You know what I mean?
Others, let's just kind of make we won't write it down, but cross multiplication, what else you find?
Long division.
Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c
know
squared.
Greek, what that had to do with it.
Everybody can quote it,
Yeah.
right? Do you know what it means? Can you apply it? Do you know why it's true? Do you know where it came from? Any of those things, you know, somebody said know everything about it. The more you know about it, the more you can help students understand it. What else?
I put PEMDAS.
What is PEMDAS?
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Still don't know what that means. That's
Parentheses, know how you solve a problem.
Which
Parentheses.
turns out,
Oh.
some of you have memorized that. We're going to talk about that as we get ready to go into our arithmetic proficiency quizzes, because you're going to be tested on your order of operations. And dear Aunt Sally didn't have it right. Because, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally could also be, please excuse dear my Sally Ann. That's still correct. And some people think that you have to do your addition before you do your subtraction. No, they have equal priority. It depends on which one comes first as you go left to right. Same with multiplication and division. Yeah. So this little mnemonic device
Guess it's good I never learned it.
is, yeah, it might be good that you didn't. I mean, there's some truth to it, but there's also some lies built into it, the way most teachers teach it. Anyway, so PEMDAS, good.
So is that why, like, the last school that I worked with at, they were told that they're not allowed to teach PEMDAS anymore, like, the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Is that why they're not allowed to teach it? Okay.
Probably. I don't think you should be allowed to teach cross multiplication. I think you should teach the principles that allow for it and let students discover that you can do it. And then they have something that they own, that they built. Pie. It's just out there, right?
I don't like it.
You don't like pie?
I love pie. Oh, I love pie.
Me too.
Love pie.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
One that my partner had was conversion, so like converting like in the metric system.
That's important.
It's important, but it's a pain in the butt, and most people don't know why they have to do it.
Okay, but having a deeper understanding of it, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, good. We could make a big list. All right. I hope you came out of this report, reading this report, with this teaching. Even if I'm going to teach at the elementary school, I have got to know math more than just what I needed to get through elementary school. Knowing what it takes to do it is not going to be enough if you're going to do it right. And that means you're going to have to dig and work and think and help each other and share different ideas about it. And I think this semester will come out of here and you're going, oh, I feel so much more ready to go out and do what I need to do. Okay. What I'd like you to do next is with your partner, take your 24 tiles, and I would like you to build me.
They were asleep.
You're going to need a piece of paper to log some things. Yeah. Where did they end up? Some up here. You need 24 per pair. What I'd like you to do is, using the 24 tiles, laying flat, I would like you to build me as many different rectangles as you can that are solid, meaning they're not hollow and they don't have holes in them. The rule is you have to use all 24 tiles, okay, and it has to be a rectangle. So build a rectangle out of all 24 tiles and then write down the dimensions of it, then build another one, write down the dimensions of it until you've built every single possible rectangle you can build using all 24 tiles. Flat, don't double deck. Yeah, no 3D. Okay?
2 by 2.
Once you get one, write it down, and then make another one.
So 4 by 2. 4 by 6.
Oh, yeah.
You also have 2 by 12. Any other ways you can
Square. Basically, we had to use them all piecing together. And if we did, Carol would still be square. Use all of them. We did 4 by 6. Yeah, 3.
Rectangles.
Okay, so that one doesn't work.
Yes. It doesn't matter either way.
These things don't stay.
Well, yeah.
3 work? I don't think 3 work. Oh, 3 by 8. 8 by 3. So, could we do
Sorry, are you recording? Okay, good.
24. 48. Oh, we need division?
If 4 times 6 is 20. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 8 is 24. We did 3 times 8
What were the directions I gave?
Can't do 5, can you? Not 5.
So it just be
There's 12, 1 by 24. Just made a line.
You said you had to use all the
1 by 24. That would be a long one. Okay, I'll just
24 by 1, but it's like the same thing, but that's how I feel.
I think that's all. I think so too.
Okay. He said not stack it.
No, but like, if you put 12, you can
Can't stack them.
You can put or reverse order.
Okay, so how many did you find? 4? Anybody find more than 4?
You can reverse the order and it would take
You guys found more than 4, huh?
8, yeah.
Can you reverse the numbers?
Should we reverse it? Can you reverse it? What did I tell you?
It doesn't matter that.
I said write it or make as many different rectangles using all 24. So is a 2 by 12 different than a 12 by 2?
Yes.
Would your third grader say that?
They would, but
Fourth
it's
grader?
not because
It's not?
A times B equals B times A.
Technically it's different?
No, it's
but
okay.
it's technically different.
It's not. You look at it, it's the same shape.
The 24 is the same, right?
It's in a different.
It's just
Wait,
What would a third grader say?
It's
Different or same?
different.
Like I told you, I've never taught third grade, so
I think it depends on
I
the third
suspect
grader.
they would, most of them would say different.
It depends on the third grader.
Yeah, it probably would depend. Yeah, question, comment.
Comment. So I guess if you look at it this way, it's the same dimensions, just like that picture up there. If you put that picture up there, that vertical, I mean, it's still going to be the same size if you turn it horizontal, but it's not going to be, it's still
Not the same layout.
picture, but it's not going to.
Yeah, we call it when we're printing portrait or
Yeah.
landscape, right? And that's what we're talking about. So what did you get? What were the different dimensions? 1 by 24, 2 by 12, 3 by 8, 4 by 6. And then we could keep and get what? 6 by 4 and by 3 and 12 by 2 and finally 24 by 1. Okay, but right in here, it just flips it. Yeah. So, what does this exercise teach us or allow us to learn? They say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can teach your student a lesson, but you can't make them learn. You see, the BYU Idaho learning model applies in the public schools as well. They just don't know. They have to take accountability, right? They have to use faith, and faith is an action word, and you have to do something in order to learn. What could we learn? What could be learned out of this activity? Anybody?
Perspective.
That there are 2 ways of seeing a rectangle, for one. Okay, what else?
Different ways of like learning, because I mean, part of it I didn't have to actually put it out on it. I just figured it out in my mind, where others they have to actually put it out.
see if they will.
Is it called kinesthetic or whatever it's called? Where it's,
Kinesthetic?
yeah.
Yeah, we use
Versus-
something with hands-on, yeah.
That's where I was going. It
Oh.
kind of lets you use different learning styles for
Okay.
whether if they're just a thinker, or if you want to work with something.
But what's the objective? What do we want you to get out of this, other than playing with a bunch of tiles?
Allowing students to discover things on their own.
What am I trying to get you to discover?
Multiplication.
Multiplication? Division? What do you, how's division? Area could come out of this. My goal was, and I didn't state this, my goal is to have the student learn all of the factors of the number 24. Where are they?
2, 12,
Right? How many factors are there?
8.
4 or 8? 8. Right? Or, right, either, okay. How do we know that doing this activity won't give them a number that's not a factor of 24? You understand what I'm saying? How do I know that 7 is not a factor of 24, in other words?
Because it doesn't line up, it doesn't form. You have like one piece off or 2 pieces off, so it doesn't
I
form.
made one row of 7,
rectangle.
I haven't used all 74. 2 rows of 7 make 14. 3 rows of 7 is 21, and if I go to make a 4th row, I'm up to 28. So if I can't get a rectangle out of it, then it's not a factor, right? Does that make sense? Now, this is very different than just dealing with it symbolically. Who knows what I mean, symbolically? Just
Written form.
just writing the numbers out, right? Because you have a visual, a concrete 24 squares, and anything I can arrange those 24 squares into a rectangle, any of those will be my factor, right? In fact, I get 2 factors out of every rectangle, correct? The length and the width. All right. This might be an example of, in your teaching ideas, if you want to teach someone about factors, give them a bunch of tiles. Does it have to be 24? Could be 32, right? And say, build me all the rectangles for 32. Or, and then give them a lot of experience with this. Here's 17. Build all the rectangles you can with 17. You got to use them all. What are they going to find out? 1 and 17, or 17 and 1. And then they start seeing, well, there's some numbers, there's only 2 rectangles you can build. The one by itself, right? And those are called, is it coming back to you a little bit? So this idea of using rectangles to teach factors and using the actual, okay? Can everybody see the pattern here? So what is a factor? If I ask you to define it, actually we're going to ask you to define it. It's going to be in your glossary, in your personal resource. What are you going to write?
For me, it's a number that can go into another number evenly. So like
Evenly.
2, yeah, so like 2 can go into 24 evenly 12 times. But if it's not evenly, then it's not a factor of that number.
So, how about the number 15?
3 and 5.
3 and 5? 3 goes into 5 evenly? 5 is odd.
No. 3 and 5 go into 15, sorry.
But
I know.
two numbers go into 15.
Does anybody know what I'm trying to do here?
Yeah.
When we say evenly, what does that mean?
To most, it's
Yeah.
Okay, as my job, I work at a school, and I work with special education kids. What I always tell them to do is, okay, you have 15.
draw me 15 apples or 15 whatever. And then split those into groups for how, like, but they have to be even groups. So there has to be the same amount in each group. And that's how many, like, that's how you get your factors. So you'll have 3 groups of 5 or you'll have 5 groups of 3.
Or one group of 15, or 15 groups of 1. I guess I'm trying to get us a little more precise on our language. When you say evenly, does that mean, because 3 doesn't go into goes into 5 odd 5 times. Is that evenly? Yes?
It's where we have there's no remainders.
No remainder. It goes in and there's no remainder. That's a lot better language than saying evenly because of the meaning of odd and even. Does that make sense? Okay.
How many students are actually going to know what remainder is? Because math in itself isn't their own language.
It depends on where they've been and what they've done. That's good. Right.
I would personally say, from what you guys have just said, factors are dividing numbers into groups that have the same amount.
Oh.
No leftovers, nobody's left out.
And then we don't need the word remainder yet. Yet.
And you can teach them that that left out would be what's called a remainder.
So there could be more than one correct way of
teaching,
of defining factor, right? Okay. Students frequently get the word factor and multiple mixed up. You might even be one of those students. What can we do to get that straight in our minds, first of all? Second of all, what can we do to help students keep those straight in their mind? Let's define multiple first. Who wants to give it a try?
If I'm thinking correctly, like 4 is a multiple of 2, correct?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So then.
So you just gave me an example, not a definition.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to make sure you're on the right track, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's anything like, how do you define that?
Do you get the idea she might know what it is? Yeah. So knowing what something is and be able to define it is 2 different tasks. Yeah.
So a multiple is basically the end result of multiplying 2 factors together.
Okay.
I like that.
All right. Anybody else want to try it?
I was just thinking, so when we, like, if we're using the number 2, if we do 2 squared, that's 4. So you could say if you have one individual number and you multiply it by itself, and you can continue on to do that because that's how it is. It's the same.
And those are multiples?
Mm-hmm. Like 2 times 2 times 2 is 8.
And so 8 is?
A multiple of 2.
Okay. That sounds like powers to me. Are powers the same as multiples? I mean, the fact that you did 2 times 2 times 2 using the factor several times, isn't that powers? Is a power and a multiple the same thing?
Nope.
We're saying no?
They're similar, but they're not the same.
Okay. Okay. In tonight's homework, we're going to ask you to do several things. One of the things we're going to ask you to do is to come up with a hands-on method like we used here. You don't have to use squares, but we want it to be with objects. And to be able to teach a student about multiples. So does anybody want to ask a question?
We all have
Are
Google.
multiples clear in your mind?
We all have Google.
You'll have Google. Yeah, y'all always have Google, right? I've got every day signed up for except for July 12th. Did anybody not get a chance to sign this? And we're covered, and nobody's on there twice, right? Is this somebody's pen? Yours?
Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to have you do tonight, and I'd like you to write me a 1 page. Okay, I don't want an epistle. Some of you are going to have to really think about what you're going to leave out and put in. I want a 1-page math autobiography. Okay?
That'd be single spaced or double spaced?
Single.
Good.
So, yeah, single spaced. And the purpose of it is to let me know what your background is, where you've struggled, where you've had success, what you've enjoyed, what you've detested, what you might want to talk about a teacher you had that really inspired you, or a teacher that ruined you on math, or a whatever. But I'd like to get a little bit of background so that as I'm working with you this semester, I will be able to meet those needs and help you with. Now, it might be worth talking about a little bit of organization. Yeah, question?
Do we upload this or do we like print it off and bring it?
I need you definitely to bring in a copy. The copy can be printed out on a piece of paper, or it can be on your computer. You're all going to need your computers by Friday anyway, because we're going to start off the class with a quiz. So feel free to bring them here. What we're going to do with them, just so you know, we're going to be sharing experiences with each other. You're going to be reading the autobiography of one of your classmates, and they're going to be reading yours, and you're going to be giving each other feedback. Not only on, hopefully there won't be any spelling errors, because spell checkers are usually turned on, right? But maybe grammar errors, or maybe punctuation, or maybe the wording. I didn't quite know what you meant by this. Could you tell me about it, and then talk about maybe how to reword it or whatever? And so we want to be able to exchange. So you can just exchange laptops, or you can exchange whatever. But if you come unprepared, your partner won't even have one to read, and you won't be able to get feedback on it. I am interested in, and we're going to assign this part of your homework tonight. You're going to get feedback from your partner on Friday, then you're going to polish it up, and then you'll submit that final one to me. Does that make sense? Okay, so those are 2 of the tasks we've got for you to do this for Friday. Okay?
So then what do we submit by Friday?
It tells you right there on iLearn what to submit. Okay? And if it says uploading, give it about 20 seconds and then click it and go on. I hope to have it fixed before then, but